So I'm really excited to introduce two speakers here today who are going to share something really exciting with us. We have Tomas Anker Christensen, who's the Ambassador for Climate Change of Denmark, and Lemire, who is the Envoy for Climate Change for Arctic and Northern Affairs. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So Tomas, you have something new to share with us all. There is the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, which is being launched at COP today. Can you please tell us more about this alliance and what is it looking to achieve?
Thank you, and thank you for having us. It is a very exciting day. The launch of the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance is something that we in Denmark have been working on for a couple of years. It took its point of departure from the decision in Denmark to end our exploration of oil and gas in the North Sea. We were, when we took the decision, the largest producer of oil and gas in the European Union. That is after the UK left the EU. It was a very tough decision. It was years in the making, and the decision was basically to issue no more licensing rounds for new exploration in the North Sea. So the existing licensees will come to their natural end we don't know actually how far into the future, but well before 2050. The decision was taken to basically align our production with the 2050 net zero target. And when the decision was taken, then the add-on from the political level, and this was a decision with a 95% of our parliament behind it, was to launch an international initiative to see if we could get others to join us for that same push. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to call the evil by its name, and the evil that is causing climate change is primarily emissions from CO2 emissions coming from fossil sources of energy, coal, oil and gas. And we have a huge push at this COP on coal. We saw that last week, and a lot of progress has been made over the last few years on ending the use of coal in energy all around the world. But we haven't had a similar focus on oil and gas, and we really think that having an initiative that promotes and insists that we need a global discussion on aligning oil and gas production with our climate targets, with the Paris Agreement, is a necessity. We have no other choice. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the IEA had a report out this summer, the roadmap to net 2050, that basically says that in order to satisfy global demand until 2050, we have already discovered all the oil and gas reserves that we can use to stay within the carbon budget. So basically, we should stop exploring and issuing new licenses worldwide now. We can't force anyone to do it, but with this alliance, with this initiative, we are creating a platform where governments and subnationals who have jurisdiction over exploration can start having that informed discussion supported by science, by economic analysis, by social analysis, because there is also a social dimension to it. What do you do with the workers and the people who depend on oil and gas production? You can't leave them hanging out dry. You need a conversation about the transition of the people who are in the sector, and that's hundreds of thousands of people, millions around the world. So with this alliance that we're launching today, we are creating that platform where we can have that conversation, probably, hopefully, quite an accelerated conversation given the urgency that we're facing, but really where we can put this on the global agenda so that we can keep coming back to it, that we can keep pushing this issue. And later this morning, when we're having the press conference with the launch, when we will also announce who will be the participants, you will see that this is just the beginning of something that will grow and snowball in the future. We think that every country that has oil and gas production needs to ask itself that question: how are you aligned with your 2050 targets? If you have a net zero target for 2050 or later, as some countries do, how does your oil and gas production align with that? It is a supply side initiative, but really one that puts that question squarely on the global agenda.
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear that this started with, one country asking themselves that same question and thinking, this is a global issue. This is what our audience, wants to hear about. It's what we're hoping to really come out of COP is really an international consensus around this topic in particular. So can you tell us, in absence of clear declarations that all countries sign on to, what are you excited about when it comes to the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance?
It is really that we now, for the first time, are creating that group of front runners who are taking that first step. Also, in a way, in line with the Paris Agreement, where it is said that richer economies, more developed economies, without using that language, should take a first step in decarbonizing and in moving forward. And I think that's exactly in that spirit that this alliance is created. Most of the members will be from the global north. There will also be some from the global south, Costa Rica, our partner in doing this, obviously, to start with. But it is really also a signal that now that discussion is on the table, and we will keep on pushing it. And eventually, we have to head towards a low or zero carbon future for us to stay within the 1.5 degree limit.
Yeah, and so what I find, really wonderful about this is that you also said you have subnational partners who are joining on. And so, Jean Lemire, you're from Quebec. Can you tell us how important this, your involvement in this alliance is when it comes to really aligning Quebec's approach for decarbonization and meeting your goals?
Well, for us, it's really important because, of course, hydroelectricity is at the heart of, our energy, and it's clean. But we also have lots of different permits, for exploration. So when you decide to become a member of BOGA, you have to show some leadership. This is the key, and we're really happy that our Premier, François Legault, decided to go there and said, okay, our future, first of all, we will do what the science is asking. We will keep underground, what is the real cause of all that? Because you can do, you can have very ambitious targets, but those targets are there to reduce what we use as gas and oil and coal. So if you take the problem at its source, of course, it's the right solution. Today we will be, some governments, some leaders, but just imagine if that number of country and subnational is growing and growing, then we are closer to the real solution.
Yeah.
And it's very important, and thanks to Denmark and Costa Rica, that subnational are also part of the solution, because what we need more and more is a whole of government approach.
Yeah, and this is what everyone's really been hoping and waiting for. And there is, I guess, this, really this feeling of maybe distrust in governments and not believing that, these commitments will turn into real action. So how do you feel that this alliance will really promote credible government action towards a timely and just phase out of oil and gas?
Well, it's just think of the signal that we are sending to the world. Just think to the signal that we are sending to the young generation also. This is what they are asking for.
Yep.
This is what the science is asking also. And of course we will work with workers to be sure that nobody will be left behind. This is very important. But we have to work together. We have to really have ambitious and courage also, to take those decisions that will, put all kind of government and society on the right path for the future. This is essential. This is what society wants. So we have to work together and create partnership that will put us on the right path.
Yeah, and in closing, what would be your message to those who, global citizens who are watching, to those who are really seeking to see something come out of COP26? Do you have a reassuring message to give them around the alliance? Do you have something that you'd like to share?
Let me quote the Danish minister who will be presenting the alliance later this morning. he keeps on telling us that we shouldn't ask what's possible, but what's necessary, and then make the necessary possible.
Yeah. And you know, one thing very important, we have to be confident, you know. We cannot say it's too late, or, you know, we have, again, to work together, create partnership, and bring everybody around the table to find solution, and, you know, we have to do it. You know, there's no way that we will, so we have to do it, we have to work together, and thanks again for Denmark and Costa Rica for this alliance. It's just the beginning, but now what we need is more country, more subnational joining that alliance, so we can make real progress over the year.
That's wonderful.
And I think with the alliance, we are putting this question on the global agenda for every country to have that conversation.
Yep.
How do I align? What are we doing? Citizens can question their leaders, industry can engage in the conversation, and you have examples now of countries who are actually doing it and showing that leadership.
Yes, the front runners, as you called it, and it's an amazing, I think, call to action to everyone who's watching and tuning in to really check and see, has your government joined this alliance? What are they doing to really align themselves? And can you put pressure? Can you put a little bit more of an emphasis on taking part in this alliance? So thank you so much for doing the work that is necessary, that's not easy, that we don't know is possible.